In a future world, Earth is assaulted by an extraterrestrial species called the Formics, resulting in significant human casualties. The invasion is halted by a pilot named Mazer, who sacrifices his life by crashing his aircraft into the Formic Queenship. Over the next 5 decades, the international fleet is established and enlists children to become soldiers, training them to lead a counter-offensive in the future. These children participate in war simulations and are monitored through devices attached to their necks. Ender, one of their most skilled players, is sometimes accused of cheating by his peers. Yet he remains unprovoked. Colonel Graf believes Ender is the hero they need, but Major Anderson is doubtful, as they require more than just combat abilities. They need a leader's temperament. One day, Ender is summoned to the infirmary to have his monitor removed, signaling his dismissal from the program. After the painful procedure, Ender is confronted by envious peers who accuse him of cheating and attempt to assault him. Now monitor-free, Ender fights back and subdues the ringleader before issuing a warning to the others. Graf and Anderson secretly observe the altercation, with Graf commending Ender's response. Upon returning home, Ender confides in his sister Valentine about the incident, regretting his violent reaction and fearing that he might become like their aggressive brother Peter, who was expelled from the program. Valentine tries to console Ender, but their conversation is interrupted by Peter, who challenges Ender to a fight for also being removed from the program. Ender refuses to engage and is eventually left alone. During dinner, Ender's parents attempt to reassure him when Graf and Anderson unexpectedly arrive at their doorstep. As it turns out, the monitor's removal was a test to evaluate Ender's behavior without it. After questioning him, they confirm that he passed because his decision to fight the other child was strategic, not due to a desire to inflict pain. Graf believes Ender's intellect rivals Mazer's and offers him a chance to return and advance to battle school without the monitor. Ender accepts and joins other graduates on a shuttle to battle school, where he meets Bean and Ally, both of whom become nauseous during takeoff. Graf visits the group, and when Ender cracks a joke, Graf announces that Ender is the smartest in the class, drawing uncomfortable attention to him. Upon arriving at the school, Ender tells Graf that his announcement made everyone resent him. But Graf explains they need a leader like Caesar to win the war. In his room, Ender encounters students already taunting him for perceived arrogance. Their conversation is interrupted by Sergeant Dapp, who condescendingly explains the rules and emphasizes the importance of teamwork. In class, Graf reviews their responsibilities and shows a video of Mazer's victory, which Ender finds peculiar. The next day, the team is introduced to the zero-gravity battle room. Graf has Ender demonstrate first, and the other students follow suit, gradually adapting to the lack of orientation. Ender and Bean experiment with their weapons, discovering that the shots immobilize any body part they hit. After practicing for a while, Graf gathers everyone and explains that they will compete against other school teams in this room. Dapp then outlines the game rules. 1 point for hitting a limb, 6 for striking the torso, and an instant win if a team gets a cadet through the enemy's gate unharmed, regardless of points. Over the next 3 months, Ender trains at the school and writes emails to Valentine without receiving any replies. Training involves studying Formic flight patterns and hand-to-hand combat, which keeps the students aggressive and causes Ender to feel like Peter. Ender remains uncertain if anyone truly understands the Formics, as the details of Mazer's victory are unclear. Graf wants Ender to lead, but Ender struggles to connect with his diverse peers and often eats alone. One evening, Graf announces that some upperclassmen have failed to meet command school standards, opening up opportunities for promotions. Ender inquires about blocked emails, and Graf confirms that all communication is temporarily withheld to keep Earth in the dark. Afterward, Dapp forces Ender to perform push-ups while hurling insults, reminding him to speak only when addressed. Once Dapp departs, Ender is surprised to find his classmates now regard him with respect. The following day, a teacher reveals that only 3 students have passing scores on the Deep Space Navigation test: Ally, Bean, and Ender. Bernard accuses them of cheating, prompting the teacher to review some exercises. When asked to demonstrate, Ender suggests Ally and Bean understand the material better, so the teacher calls on Ally. As Ally explains his answers, Bernard sends derogatory messages about Ally's weak stomach to everyone's screens. In response, Ender writes an insulting message about Bernard and sends it, angering him. When the teacher hears Bernard's complaint and sees the situation, she advises him not to dish out what he cannot take. Later at lunch, the class joins Ender, leaving Bernard behind. In the evening, Ender discovers a game on his tablet and plays as a rat while Eli watches. The rat must choose between two goblets, but regardless of Ender's choice, the rat dies. Ender opts to make the rat attack the troll distributing the goblets, which allows him to advance. Eli is confused, and Ender explains that the Academy is training them for violence. Graf and Anderson observe the game as it is another test, and Anderson is astonished by Ender's solution, which has never been seen before. This confirms Graf's belief that Ender is the ideal soldier, and he is immediately promoted to the undefeated Salamander army. Upon finding his new quarters, Ender meets Petra, the only girl in the Salamanders, and the leader Bonzo, who is displeased with Ender's addition to the team, considering him scrawny and useless. Bonzo intends to trade Ender as soon as possible and instructs him not to interfere. During matches, Bonzo orders Ender to enter the battle room, remain in a corner, and do nothing until the team is ready to advance. Later, Petra tells Ender that the battle room is open for practice around the clock, offering to help with his training. Ender accepts, and Petra teaches him shooting techniques in the battle room. When Bonzo sees them return together, he becomes irate and forbids Ender from practicing. Ender requests a private conversation and promises to obey Bonzo's orders during training, but refuses to let Bonzo control his free time. Ender points out that his improvement will hasten the trade Bonzo desires. Ender proposes a straightforward agreement. Bonzo can feign victory in the argument, and the next day, he can tell others that he changed his mind. This way, Bonzo maintains his leadership respect, and Ender keeps his free time. Though Bonzo insults Ender for his audacity, he does as Ender suggests the following day. Later, during their first match, Ender initially remains in the corner as instructed, but when their team starts losing, he joins Petra to devise a plan. Petra propels Ender while he pretends to be frozen, enabling him to steal 2 guns and launch a surprise one-man attack, securing victory for the Salamanders. Graf, observing the events, is thrilled to see Ender excel. At lunch, the other Salamanders criticize Bonzo for restraining Ender, embarrassing him. Later, as Ender and Petra practice hand-to-hand combat, Bonzo intervenes to punch Ender, threatening to kill him if he ever makes Bonzo look foolish again. At bedtime, Ender resumes the game on his tablet, where the rat encounters a bug-like creature that communicates an incomprehensible request. The creature morphs into Valentine, who flees when the area comes under attack. The rat follows Valentine into a collapsed building, transforms into Ender, and discovers a strange sphere with Valentine inside. The carpet becomes a monster and assaults Ender's avatar, prompting Peter's appearance in the sphere, labeling Ender a killer. Frightened, Ender closes the game immediately. Graf is infuriated with Anderson, believing her game is pushing Ender's psychological state to the brink. Anderson claims she doesn't know how the images entered the game and cannot modify them, so Graf orders her to delete the game entirely. Subsequently, Graf decides to expedite promotions in the program to meet their deadline. Graf summons Ender to his office and proposes that he lead his own team, the Dragon Army, a name that was discontinued 4 years ago due to their inability to win. Graf believes Ender can create a team of misfits like himself, and Ender agrees. After Dap shows Ender his new quarters and finally treats him with respect, Ender meets his new team members, including Eli, Bean, and Bernard. Ender surprises everyone by requesting mutual respect and encouraging them to share their ideas, emphasizing the importance of teamwork. Consequently, Ender drives his team to work diligently, transforming even Bernard, and they soon achieve 3rd place in the team ranking. Anderson informs Graf that their superiors are growing impatient and expect a decision on which team will advance soon. But Graf is dissatisfied with the Dragons not being in 1st place. To remedy this, Graf suggests an unprecedented 3-team battle involving the top 3 teams: Dragons, Salamanders, and Leopards. Caught off guard by the news, the team rushes to prepare, during which a member injures his ankle. Ender sends him to the infirmary and readies for the challenge with a smaller team. Fortunately, Graf sends Petra as a replacement. Ender first deploys Petra with a boy as a shield to eliminate campers by the gate. Next, he ties a rope around Bean and sends him to scout the room for intel. With sufficient information, Ender devises a plan. The entire team forms a protective barrier around Eli and advances directly to the enemy's gate, securing victory. After the game, Bonzo confronts Ender in the showers, demanding a fight. Although Ender is reluctant, he has no choice but to defend himself. He accidentally pushes Bonzo too forcefully, causing him to hit his head on the floor. An unresponsive Bonzo is rushed to the infirmary for surgery. Anderson and Petra attempt to console Ender, but Graf interrupts them to speak with Ender privately. Graf assures Ender that Bonzo will survive, but Ender remains skeptical, leading Graf to admit that Bonzo will be sent back to Earth for recovery. Ender wishes to accompany him and see his sister, but Graf refuses to grant him leave. Consequently, Ender quits. Anderson criticizes Graf for not recognizing the students as children, but Graf counters that they must be viewed as soldiers to ensure humanity's survival. Later on Earth, Valentine returns home to find Graf waiting, seeking a favor. She surmises that Graf wants to use her to persuade Ender to rejoin the army, and Graf admits he wants Ender to save lives. Graf takes Valentine to Ender, who then invites her on a boat ride for a private conversation. Ender shares his guilt over destroying lives, explaining that to truly understand an enemy, he must love them. Valentine clarifies that harming Bonzo was self-defense and states she won't pressure him to re-enlist per Grat's wishes. But she believes Ender is avoiding his fear. She reminds him he can't hide forever, and that failure to act could lead to devastating consequences. Ender agrees to return to the army on the condition that Graf stops blocking his emails. Instead of resuming at battle school, Ender is taken to a command base near the Formic home planet, where he is eligible to train for the final test. If successful, he will command the entire invasion fleet. The base is located on a planet formerly inhabited by the Formics before humans expelled them nearly 3 decades prior. Ender questions the need to continue attacking the Formics if they are confined to their own planet, and Graf draws a parallel to Ender's previous actions with the students, asserting that the attacks are meant to prevent future aggression. Dap escorts Ender to his new room, equipped with an oxygen tank in case of evacuation. The following morning, Ender is surprised by a strange tattooed man who jumps on him and warns him not to trust anyone, including his teachers. The man is revealed to be Mazer, who is alive after all. Ender shares his confusion about the edited video of Mazer's victory, which always cuts out after the carrier's destruction. Mazer shows Ender the full recording, revealing that after the main carrier was destroyed, the other Formic ships ceased attacking and plummeted from the sky. Mazer explains that Formics, like ants, rely on their queen. If the queen is incapacitated, the others lose their ability to function and die. This information is classified because they are not certain Mazer destroyed the queen's ship, so they cannot solely rely on that tactic. Mazer discloses that another queen likely exists on the Formic home planet, and the Formics only left their planet in search of water. Mazer then introduces Ender to his team for the training simulations, which includes Bernard, Bean, Petra, and Eli. He demonstrates how the Formic military power has been growing rapidly, emphasizing the need for a preemptive strike despite Ender's reservations about attacking self-contained creatures. The simulations will utilize photorealistic environments to best simulate actual battles, with Ender directing the overall strategy and his teammates each commanding a battle group of drones. The primary objective is to protect the MD-500, a weapon capable of shattering molecular bonds that Petra is trained to operate. During the initial simulations, Ender and his team achieved victory after victory without difficulty. As the simulations become increasingly complex and realistic, after months of relentless pressure, Ender loses his first battle. Mazer chastises Ender for the failure, and when Ender argues that risk-taking is necessary for victory, Mazer counters that Ender needs to concentrate on the bigger picture and delegate smaller tasks to his team. Graf explains that Mazer is frustrated because he has trained many teams that have all failed, and Ender will be the last one due to time constraints. The higher-ups have determined that Ender's final simulation will be the following day. If he succeeds, he will command the actual fleet. In the evening, Ender tells Petra he does not want to wage war and wishes he could communicate with their adversaries to better understand them. Petra informs him that studies on Formic anatomy reveal they lack vocal cords, prompting Ender to wish he could think to them instead. The next morning, Ender and his team prepare for the final simulation, observed by Graf, Mazer, and numerous higher-ups. The simulation is set on the Formic home planet, where they immediately encounter the enemy fleet. Ender instructs Eli to engage the fleet so Petra can fire the MD-500. But this action causes the remaining Formic ships to leave the planet and pursue them. As the MD-500 recharges, Ender adopts a strategy he used in the battle room, enveloping their main weapon with smaller ships as a protective barrier. He then directs Petra to pilot the MD-500 towards the planet. As the shield starts to disintegrate upon entering the atmosphere, Ender orders Bean to deploy his drones against the approaching swarm, hoping to clear a path and survive long enough. Once the MD-500 is recharged and close enough, Ender commands Petra to fire, obliterating all life on the planet and securing their victory. The team celebrates, but Ender grows concerned when he notices the ongoing images of the planet burning. Mazer and Graf congratulate Ender and express their gratitude for saving humanity, revealing that the event was not a simulation, but the real battle. Ender breaks down upon realizing that he sacrificed their own soldiers as a shield and wiped out an entire species that may have been preparing for self-defense, given their absence from Earth for 50 years. Others view Ender as a hero, but he sees himself as a killer. As Ender begins to unravel, a nurse sedates him and takes him to his room to rest, where Petra watches over him. In his dreams, Ender encounters the bug creature from the game, realizing it is the Formic Queen protecting the sphere in the building and attempting to communicate with him through his dreams. Grasping her message, Ender awakens and rushes out of the room to leave the base. Petra follows, providing him with an oxygen tank before he suffocates. Grateful, Ender sends her back, determined to proceed alone. He enters the collapsed building and discovers a Formic Queen with the sphere, which is actually an egg. The Formics had never intended to battle humans. They had been seeking water for their offspring. The Queen approaches Ender and touches him, but withdraws when she senses he means no harm. Realizing the Queen is dying, Ender takes the egg and vows to find it a suitable home. With the war over, Ender is promoted to Admiral and receives a small ship as a reward. He uses the ship to journey into deep space and establish a new Formic colony with the egg, hoping to atone for his actions. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay on top of all the latest recaps and never miss a beat. Thank you for watching.